Hello and welcome to Uncapped, where we lift the lid off natural and low-tox lifestyles with essential oils. I'm Jess Raitt, and today I'm joined by the beautiful Chantel Hutnan. Chantel and I have worked relatively closely over the past few months, firstly at our dōTERRA AUNZ convention back in June, where we spoke about how to adapt healthy habits. More recently, we've been talking about creating programs and lifestyle focuses to really harness the power of natural products into your day-to-day. There is just so much expertise in Chantel, so she was the perfect guest to sit down and talk to about Copaiba essential oil. Chantel's resume reads very impressively. She is a practicing functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. Going back a few years, Chantel was actually dabbing the white coat as a pharmacist, so you can really see how her storybook caters for both Western and traditional medicine modalities. Today's conversation will definitely be lifting the lid not only on Chantel's mind, but how the equally remarkable Copaiba essential oil can support your well-being and be infused into your daily practices. Welcome to Uncapped, Chantel.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to be here. It's so nice to be able to see where you guys hang out and where the magic happens.
Oh, that's awesome. How are you, lovely?
How am I? I'm feeling like I need some Copaiba rubbed on already, but no, I'm doing really well. I'm feeling great. Excited to be here on the couch with you.
Oh, good. It is such a treat to have you, and I say this with most of my guests, but it's true. It's such an honour to have you here because you were such an inspiration. A couple of months ago when we were sitting on stage together with your beautiful friend Nikki Skinner and of course my beautiful friend Dr. Brannick Riggs, we had a panel conversation around adapting healthy habits, and the information, that joy that you brought to that stage, all I could hear from the audience afterwards, the feedback was that we need to hear more from you. You were just absolutely incredible. So your history, your current history is around now I've got to say this right, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner.
Did well.
Great.
Mouthful.
That is
want to shorten that somehow.
I know we need to come up with an acronym or something.
We do.
Yeah. Perfect. Let's work on that.
Yeah.
But that's a really interesting role that you're looking into. Can you talk to me about why living well and being really focused on people's lifestyles and how they can make healthy habits is so important to you?
Yes, well, I think it's reframing that health is actually like our birthright and that all of us have that innate capacity to feel well, and that's what our default really should be. And so I guess, having that pharmacy background and seeing people struggling to find that health and wanting to kind of look at how we can intervene earlier and all the things that are within our control so that somebody can really feel their best. And I think the reason that's important for me is that when you have your health, you're able to fulfill everything that you want, like your potential and your dreams that you have on your heart. So I think that, when you don't have your health, and maybe when you are a person that has experienced that gives you that drive because you know what it feels like on the other side as well. And I guess I saw that a lot on the other side of what it, when you don't have your health, how it detracts from your ability just to show up in your daily relationships. That's
so insightful because it's so true. We forget when we're on the slippery slope of a declining health. We almost put up with feeling tired and feeling sluggish or not feeling mentally as happy as we could be. But we put up with it so much because of the external environment. I know myself, I feel like I'm used to being on that treadmill of sorts, like that little hamster that's just going through the daily grind. And so when I want to focus on my health and well-being and really put in those changes, that can be really overwhelming because I've got so much else, other stuff going on. No doubt this is what your clients come to you with. Yeah,
big time. And so looking at ways that we can really make that overwhelm. Sometimes you need an external person to kind of be able to listen to where you're at and kind of put things into perspective and give you that direction. And usually the direction inside yourself, but sometimes having that external view helps to kind of get that starting point initiated and take out some of the overwhelm and reduce the complexity and be like, okay, this is what we're focusing on, this is why we're focusing on it, what, understanding what your day looks like, and then setting up an environment for you to be successful, so that then you start to get some wins on the board, and then that builds internal confidence, and then you feel better that you've achieved something, and then we just layer on top of that. So
So the habit stacking that we're talking about in our other element, I know we've got you on the couch today for Uncapped, but you and I are both working on something really exciting to build lifestyle ability within the dōTERRA culture of sorts, and how to use these natural remedies to support our well-being. And habit stacking is one of the fundamentals, right? That when you start something, it's just that little tweak, and then you get that confidence, you feel that empowerment. So day 2 can feel that little bit easier, that you can stack that first habit with something else.
Yes.
I'm not the expert in this space, you are. So can you tell me, if I was to present as a 36-year-old woman with 2 young kids who's working a lot and not sleeping great, and probably on the higher end of the stress Richter scale, what are the kinds of things that you would be talking to me about that you could recommend?
Yeah, so you've touched on 2 really big ones there, sleep and stress, 2 huge pillars that we have to have some strategies around, because these are going to ripple out into all other areas of your life. So if you're not sleeping well, maybe then the next day different food choices happen, and we've got, lots of evidence around what the impact of sleep has then on our food choices and our insulin, our blood sugar. So really we would maybe start with one of those big pillars. What could we look at that we can set up your environment for success there? So, we might come in and have a look at the bedroom setup and have a look, like, can we put our lavender and our vetiver next to the bed, or what's happening in the lead up prior to you going to sleep? What does that morning routine look like? Because a lot of people don't realize that kind of we set the nighttime tone from what we do in the morning. And we would just dial it back to be like, okay, so is that achievable? Could we, do we have the lavender and the vetiver set up next to your bed? Do you have a regular wake up time that you have in the morning, and get you out, maybe seeing some sunlight in the morning and setting you up for success that night? And then looking for opportunities, if we were to tackle stress, like really activating that parasympathetic nervous system, ways that we could get you to do some breathing throughout the day. Maybe when you get in the car and you arrive at the office, we get you to take 3 deep breaths and really anchor in with your oils, and look at some strategies that if you did those things daily, maybe you will notice at the end of a couple of weeks, how are you feeling? Are you making different choices throughout the day? Are you feeling a little bit more grounded in yourself? And so
please come and move in at my house. I need to hear that daily. I need to have Chantel in my pocket to be able to say, just take 3 deep breaths when you come into the office. Set your bedroom up for success so that you have a good night's sleep. That is just such. And I don't want to minimise the impact of it, but they're simple things that people can do in their day-to-day lives that will have a huge impact.
Yeah, and we have to prompt it as well, and that's where when we say environment, it's like, I think our current life is set up a lot for convenience. So we've got obstacles all along the way, so we almost have to remove some of the obstacles, and then replace them with some of the things that are going to support the health outcome that we're looking to achieve. Reducing the obstacles is a big one too.
Yeah, that's so good. And it's interesting because you've just built out a beautiful recommendation around holistic living, right? You're looking for natural supportive mechanisms to build in a great habit to manage stress or sleep habits. But you've come from a very different background. You've come from the medicinal world, I guess, the Western type of medicine. How does that differ, being a pharmacist by trade and now looking at it from more of a different lens?
Yeah. So if we look at, health as a spectrum, and if we look at one end of the spectrum being, more coming in and managing symptoms, and when somebody is expressing a lot of those symptoms, and then down the other end we've got feeling vibrant and no symptoms, and and being able to kind of live life fully. And so I guess I was seeing a lot on the other end. And so I was thinking, so what can we do to kind of almost get them either back that way or prevent them from getting over to that end of the spectrum on the health spectrum? And so a lot of what we do on our daily basis, we have the impact to influence our internal system. So if we know that those things impact us internally, we can prioritize them, and we can make them a part of just what we do. It's just what we do, because this is where we want to sit on the health spectrum, and we don't want to be down that other end, because once you're down that end, all you're thinking about is, I wish I had my health, whereas we want to kind of prevent that situation by maintaining it.
It's almost like we've got a bit of a hidden secret. I feel like those that are living more consciously, who are taking their wellness, their day-to-day into their own hands, there's that huge level of empowerment. You feel like, I've got this, I can control this, so that we don't have to go to that extreme like you said. Yes. But that other end of the spectrum where people default, if I'm not sleeping well enough or I'm feeling stressed, I'm going to go straight to the pharmacist to maybe get some tablets, or take something that's going to suppress the symptom versus dealing with the root cause of why that's happening in the first place. Yes. It's almost a bit sad that that's where society has ended up, and now we're having to retrace our steps and go back to those fundamental basics of foundational living. How do we eat healthy, whole foods, and avoid the processed stuff that's doing no good, which is then in turn, and you can speak about this, I think, a hell of a lot better than I can, but there's a ripple effect, right? When it starts in your gut, what happens as a result of that?
Yeah, so, the gut is such a, hidden source of inflammation for people. And a lot of it comes back to also that environment and convenience conversation as well. And that maybe is a bigger topic on how managing our life a little better and simplifying things. But definitely the environment is influencing then our gut microbes, and they influence us, which we often forget about them because we don't see them every day. So if we're nourishing them, so when we are going to the supermarket, we're thinking, are we feeding those beneficial gut microbes as well? We know stress depletes them. We know sleep affects them. So I guess when we have that education, then we can make decisions, and then that reinforces our own internal health, and we can hopefully live our best lives for as long as we can.
Absolutely. And it's really coincidental almost that we're talking about this today, because over the next couple of months we really are focusing on how to build a healthy lifestyle, and how do we use particular supplements or eat certain foods or support our bodies or our mind with essential oils, so that we can build up those pillars again. So like you pointed out, we can rewind back to the basic fundamentals, and we can start feeling that empowerment in ourselves. The wellness pyramid is exceptional for really simplifying that model, looking at you've got proactive healthcare at the bottom, and that's really what we can do ourselves to help harness our feeling like our best selves, going back to ourselves again. Yes. And it's that reminder of, how did you feel when you were like 20 years old and you had all that vibrancy and that energy, and things didn't creak and crack and hurt, and want to go back to when you felt your best. And I think that we've got some incredible products at the moment that really help to support, not rewinding the clock, but really maintaining our general wellness. So if we think of that wellness pyramid, and we have that base level of nutrition and metabolism of sorts, the pillar above that is really talking about rest and mood, and how do we manage stress. And I think that is where we're sitting today with Copaiba Touch. We've got an incredible product here that doesn't necessarily play into that base level pillar, and please correct me if I'm wrong, if there's any way that Copaiba can tap into gut health and I'm not aware of this, let's talk about it. But Copaiba Touch is really that incredible product, and Copaiba Touch, of course, we have the 15ml Copaiba as well. This is just the version that's pre-combined with fractionated coconut oil, can really support our mood, our pain receptors, our internal functionality of sorts. So let's open up the floodgates, because it really is a floodgate conversation today, because we can go in a million different directions, and I'm really excited about this. Where do you want to start with Copaiba?
Oh, it's a great example of an oil that it's not about the smell, it's about the chemistry.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I feel like I say that a lot because, you know, one of my pet peeves is that things are just smelly things, like that essential oils are just smelly things, but there's so much more than that, as we know, based on that chemistry inside that bottle and then the influence that that has on the body. And it is one of those oils which I think you identified if you were stranded on an island. What oil would you take? The hardest question. Yeah. But with Copaiba, you would be sure to be able to find a way to support your body with whatever 100%. Ailment sort of came up, which is why I love it. Yeah.
And we had a drop ourselves. Yes. So if anyone that's interested in seeing how you can take Copaiba as well, Chantel and I recently, we took a drop of Copaiba. I put it on the roof of my mouth. You put a drop underneath your tongue.
Yeah.
I held mine, switched it around for around about 30 seconds first. What did you do?
Yes, so I try to hold it there too, like hold it under the tongue so we get some absorption through that root. And that's going to really target our nervous system. So prior to sitting on the couch together, we're really calming that nervous system and supporting, the whole pathway there where we get maybe a little stressed and a little anxious, and we're trying to tap in and really come back and ground ourselves and soothe ourselves so that we can fire on today.
Absolutely. So by internalizing that product, by popping it under your tongue or on the roof of your mouth, we're localizing it to the area that we want it to go. So it's able to pass through and impact our mind in a way that's going to support our well-being, which is really, really cool.
I actually really love taking Copaiba under the tongue and the way that you did it, actually daily. So I have it sitting in the bathroom next to my toothbrush, also really great for gum health as well. So adding a drop to your On Guard toothpaste, and then I just have it there as my reminder to take 2 to 4 drops under the tongue. I feel quite comfortable doing that morning and evening. And just having that support internally. It's an antioxidant as well. So our daily stresses that happen and our environment, it's going to help to support our internal antioxidant system as well. So very powerful oil.
That's a really great tip too. I didn't even think of it from a oral hygiene perspective as well. There's another reason why Copaiba is coming on this deserted island with me.
Yes.
When I don't have anything else other than a basketball of sorts or a football like that movie. This is going to be that all-rounder that really does help to support on multiple different channels. So I think you hit the nail on the head before when you said it's not the oil that smells nice.
No.
But it's the oil that's got the chemistry behind it. And once you understand the chemistry, that opens up the floodgates to go, how can this support me in the morning? How can this support me on the way to work? How can this support me while I'm sitting at my office desk? And so you can break your day up into segments and look at this essential oil as a way of supporting you in different elements. And we do need to talk about safety because it's very easy to get really excited about a particular product and say, well, Copaiba is going to help to support my inflammatory markers. It's going to help to calm my farm. It's going to help to support my skin. It's also great on the toothpaste. And then you ultimately are having 8, 10, 12 drops a day. Is that something that you would recommend for people to start off with?
Yeah, so always start small, listen to how your body responds. So using it topically as a first port of call. So we've got the incredible Copaiba Touch. So starting to work with that on your skin, but also, you can still use it for the nervous system, smelling it, applying it topically as well. And then if you do have the oil, it's formulated as a capsule safely for you to take internally as well. So you could start with 1 or 2 soft gels and really work with that initially. And then, popping it in the diffuser as well. I love diffusing it with lavender because it's not necessarily a beautiful smelling floral oil. It's got that resiny vibe to it. I love adding lavender with it because that's going to be really soothing and really calming. It's a great one in the kids' room to put that on, and you're going to get some side benefits there with the immune system as well. And then maybe if it is like more of a vibe of like some anxiousness going around studying and school tests and things like that, and putting it on with some citrus oils, so maybe something like wild orange or citrus bliss, just to kind of help improve that mood and get the nervous system under control as well.
Yeah, such good ideas, because you're right, because it doesn't have that, kind of glorified aroma. It's not something that we necessarily go to when you're feeling a bit down or you need to go into a bit more of a uplifted space. You naturally go to something just quite citrusy, but this is a really good balance. If you blend, say, Copaiba as your base, you bring in something citrusy and then even layer with like a spearmint, even if you really needed to focus on with studying. Spearmint's a goodie.
Yeah.
You're going to get a really complex aroma there that's going to be tapping into 3 pillars of your wellness, which is something so easy that we can do. But if we rewind back to the very start, it's all about making these small, incremental, habitual changes. And day by day, even if you have these oils sitting next to the diffuser that's in the kitchen and the kids are going absolutely bananas, you're finding that they are really amplified at the moment. That's definitely happening in our household. I forgot about Copaiba. And the benefit of having that diffusing throughout the day really may help to just calm their little minds a little bit, take a few extra breaths so that they're not running into the walls, which quite literally happened last night. I am not joking. My 2-year-old ran into the wall.
Well, you could also apply it topically there because Copaiba is incredible for skin healing. And so that would actually, Copaiba, it sounds like it's the theme in your house at the moment, maybe.
It really is.
Yeah.
And you're so right. With a touch version, because it's pre-combined with fractionated coconut oil, it's gentle enough to be able to topically apply on the littlies, as well as sensitive older skins as well. And I love the topical use. Do you remember that big word that sits within the Copaiba framework as to why it is so impactful on our systems?
Yes, so Copaiba has 50% beta-caryophyllene, which is one of the sesquiterpenes. So that's one of that primary chemical constituents that gives it that ability to bind to those CB2 receptors. And so, bringing down, like really helping with that healing process if there was any skin injury in this case. We're targeting that. It's obviously so much more like with chemistry that we look at those primary molecules, but then there's all the chemistry that comes together with Copaiba to make it such a superpower oil.
I love these big words and constituents and sesquiterpenes and beta-caryophyllene. Could go on all day, but to simplify it for those that are maybe just starting in their dōTERRA journey, we classically talk to a lot of people that are looking for essential oils within the home. What are some natural swaps that they can make to help support their family's well-being or their own emotional well-being? And this is one of those oils that really is going to cater for a wide variety of need states. So, if your 2-year-old's running into the wall, Copaiba Touch is an excellent product for supporting not only his inflammatory response so that we can hopefully avoid that egg on his head, which hasn't come up yet, thank goodness. It's also going to help to tap into his pain receptors. So he's going to feel a little bit more settled and controlled. It's also going to lower his cortisol levels slightly, so he's going to feel a little bit calmer. Hopefully he's not going to run into the wall again. But then in reverse, but in reverse as well, that, from my own perspective, Copaiba Touch is incredible for skin health. And I mean, I am a skin therapist by trade, so I'm always looking for products that I can naturally ditch and switch. Those chemical products or those commercial products you can buy from the beauty therapist or the supermarket even. Things that I can take in at home instead. That is so good. I've got this pumpkin and papaya enzyme mask that I mix with Copaiba, and it is so good because it helps to not only eat away at all of the dead skin cells on the top layer of your epidermis, but the Copaiba is also talking to those deeper cells as well and promoting conversations between your cells so that they can perform better, that they can actually lift certain discolorations or certain fine lines and wrinkles that may be appearing on one's skin, and then really help to support that antioxidant response as well, so that when you are living in a busy environment, that you're impacted by pollution, impacted by environmental stresses or even internal stresses, your antioxidant response is going to help support not having, slowing down that aging process of sorts.
Yes, I love like just making up like all of the putting in your best skin oils, and then make sure that you've got your Copaiba in there, and that amplifies all those other beautiful our frankincense and our other skin oils as well. It's such a great enhancer of amplifying the other oils in all your blends as well. So it's in skin products. Such a good addition.
Yeah, most definitely. And because it's in this touch version, it means that you can take it on the go. So if you're feeling like throughout the day you want to have a little bit more support, you can quickly roll it on.
Yes.
Physically, if you're looking for physical support. But what if you're looking for emotional support? You can, again, just quite simply roll it on. Pop your head along the spine, on the back of your neck. I like to actually do it behind my ear as well, and then on my pulse points here, because it's not going to react to UV like some of the citrus oils can do. So it's a safe enough product to use during the day. What do you like to do with Copaiba Touch?
Ooh, Copaiba Touch. Yeah, I'm with you. I go down from the base of the skull there, down the back of the neck, just sniffing it, but prior to anything that's going to be more activating and stressful for me. But yeah, getting it on the skin. Anytime like I have any sort of skin irritation or redness, that's when it's been just a stellar for me. So I have had a history of psoriasis and eczema. So really managing that, and that'll flare if I'm more stressed or I'm in an environment where I haven't been able to access the food that's, optimal for me. And so, applying it to any of that skin irritation has been a real standout for me. And I've supported others to use it that way as well and had some great results.
That's a really good point. There's actually a study in the US as well that shows that the combination of Copaiba with other products such as like Ice Blue Athletic Blend actually work cohesively together to create an impact on arthritic pain and inflammation in the joints. So in terms of amplifying results or amplifying...
That's a great word.
Yeah.
I think of Copaiba as the ultimate amplifier. So even just as simple as before we had our Ice Blue stick, we would always put Copaiba into the Ice Blue rub and massage that on. And even over for girls, over the lower abdomen, really helpful for any discomfort that happens at that time of the month as well. We can apply it topically that way as well.
That's a really good tip. I actually forgot about that one as well. It really is. Whatever's going on in your system, it's very likely Copaiba is going to be able to help.
That's why it's the oil we take onto the deserted island.
It totally is. And I love the fact that we do have these different mechanisms to be able to enjoy this product. So we've got the Copaiba Touch, which is just that easy on-the-go topical application method.
Yes.
You obviously can enjoy the aromatic benefits as well in the Touch version. We've got the 15 ml essential oil, and that's really for your DIYs, your creations that you can add to. You can obviously do that with the Touch as well if you can master popping that lid off, but that 15 ml is really fantastic for adding a drop, like you said, to your toothpaste or in your moisturiser or combining with another essential oil in your diffuser blend.
Yes.
Or again, if you wanted to have that neat application. Just on that note, actually, because recently, about 3 or 4 months ago, we went on a tour around the country, around Australia and New Zealand with Dr. Hill for the Dr. Hill tour, which was just a remarkable experience for all of us that were involved. One of the things that Dr. Hill mentioned was the fact that pending what your need state is, will actually give you the reason as to what kind of product you're going to use. So, for example, if you had a sore knee, would you use the Copaiba Touch on your sore knee, or would you use the Copaiba 15 ml neat? And what I mean by neat is that you're not combining it with a carrier oil. And the show of hands was actually really, really interesting. A lot of people thought that using the Copaiba 15 ml is stronger. So putting that directly on the knee is going to mean that it's going to target that area of concern quicker. It's actually the opposite. So by having it combined with fractionated coconut oil or any carrier oil for that matter, it helps to isolate that essential oil into that specific area.
So its application route is, I think that's a common one that people, we think we're diluting it, but in fact we're kind of localizing the effect of the essential oil by binding it into that carrier oil. Because oils are volatile, so they lift off the skin. So when you combine it into a fatty and into an oil, it's localizing it. So and you get more use out of your oils that way too. So it's a really cost-effective way.
Absolutely.
When we do use the Touch versions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you start thinking about the different ways that you can incorporate these products, you realise that there is need for both.
Yeah.
And in this case, there's probably need for 3 because we've got the Copaiba soft gels as well. So we've got 3 different ways that we can utilize Copaiba in a way that's going to support our systems. My hot tip is that if you want to have a quick flooding, I guess, of the system as a whole with an essential oil like Copaiba, I put that on neat on the soles of my feet because I've got thicker skin. You've got an extra layer of your skin on the soles of your feet, epidermis, and so you're not going to get that reactional. You're not going to get any kind of skin irritations. But you could do a couple of drops, and that's going to flood the system very quickly, impact your endocannabinoid system and support your body that way. Whereas if you've got a sore knee or a sore head, like my 2-year-old, it's just a quick topical application and we can target it that way, which is pretty cool.
So cool.
Are there any other hot tips or tricks that you can leave us with regarding Copaiba today?
Yeah, I am never without a bottle of it, and having it in those stations would be my top pick. So mine is always sitting in the bathroom for me, and we always have the Touch with us on the go. So yeah, and so I would just say, I can't imagine when I get low in my Copaiba bottle. That's when I just, I'm never without it. So it's one of our
stress levels go back up again.
It does. It's probably a reflection of the nervous system, but it's just an oil that, it was always for me about frankincense, but I almost feel like there's a bit of a competition between Copaiba and Frank over the years. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And imagine the power of popping those two together. And we can. And we can. It's very, very cool. Thank you so much for joining me on the couch today. I am so excited to pick your brains more and more and more. We can't have Uncapped running for hours and hours and hours like I would like to. So I'm really excited to be able to work alongside you over the next couple of months to really build in some lifestyle practices so that we can help our dōTERRA community and the wider community go back to those fundamental basics of what living your best dōTERRA life, your most healthiest life looks like.
It's such an honor. I can't wait for us to have this thriving community of health. So
you're
excited.
wonderful. Thank you so much, lovely. Thank you.